Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Oxford, Maine, the Oxford Plains Speedway for tonight's TRS Modified Series, the OG Racing League. In-house tonight, 100 laps on this 3/8 mile. Well, it's hard to even call it really an oval. I mean, it's like an egg, but there's no straightaway. It looks straight, but they don't really straighten the wheel at any point at this racing facility. Opened in 1950 as a half-mile dirt track. Featured a wooden grandstand that only seated 5,000 people and parking for 1,000 cars. 1961 track was paved, reconfigured as a third-mile oval. Then fast forward to 1992, a wider backstretch and now a 3/8 mile configuration. What we see today with a 14,000-seat grandstand, much more modern facility. NASCAR Cup Series ran here, believe it or not. Bobby Allison got his first win here and featured drivers like the Bushes, the Burtons, Gordon, Jarrett, Wallace, and many others. Tonight, we'll wait and see who can put their modified into victory lane here this afternoon. Practice just about finished up here at Oxford Plains. Cody Harger, the 66 machine, so far top on the board. See him drifting all the way through turn one. Not able to quite pull it off, but spins it down into the infield grass. Dan Butler's second fastest. Their good buddy Alfie Sharon, although he's sideways in that number 78 through turns 1 and 2 as well. He's third fast on the board. Rob Higgins is fourth quick in the number 40 machine, and Mike Taschereau, Magic Mike himself in the 33. He's fifth fast on the board. Good old Dustin Painter, that number 65. He is sixth fast. Buckley seventh, Higgins eighth, Murphy ninth, Choate 10th. Yeah, don't hit the dirt mounds by the light posts, ladies and gentlemen. You will go for a big-time ride, Evel Knievel style. Practice just about over with here, qualifying to follow. Just want to wish, or I'll say, hopefully everyone had a very happy holiday, Merry Christmas, so on and so forth. We've got the New Year's holiday coming up, obviously, this weekend. Friday, New Year's Eve, Saturday, New Year's Day. Yes, they do go in order, of course. Just hope that everybody is out there having a good time and being safe. But you got to celebrate. It's New Year's Eve. Be smart about it. All right. Qualifying about to get going here. Looks like Rob Higgins first to roll out onto the grid. Higgins in the number 40. Rob with Higgins Hill Racing. First lap for Rob, a 14:72. That puts him on provisional pole, but for how long? Lap 2 for Higgins. It's a 14:75, a little bit slower than first lap. Cody Harger's first lap is a 14:66, puts him on provisional pole. Let's see if he can better that first lap on his second go-around. Cody was quickest in practice. Let's see if he can back it up. Spins it across the line, keeps it out of the dirt, just the right rear. Quicker second lap, just by a hair. Harger on the provisional pole. Dan Murphy Jr. out there as well. His first lap is a 77, third fast. Lap 2 for Dan Murphy Jr., 14.72. Definitely quicker, still third fast. Mike Tashero's out there getting ready to check in his first lap of the afternoon. Beautiful sunshine, partly cloudy here at Oxford, Maine. First lap for Mike is a 76, fourth fast on the board. Meanwhile, Dan Butler goes to P2. Second lap for Mike Tashero, spins it sideways off of Ford. Gonna count, yes it is, 14.88 for Mike. Dan Butler, 14.69 for his second lap, much faster than the first. That checks him in second on the board. It's like Dustin Painter is next, a 65 machine. Right, an 87 the first lap, second lap was a 70. Moved to 65 to row number 2, just a half-tenth off pole. He'll roll off from the third spot so far. Bob Higgins in the 43, leaving pit lane. .43 around to check in his first lap. 14.86 for the 43 machine. Lap 2, let's see what it'll bring. Don Harger, yeah, you should be seeing qualifying. That's what I'm calling right now, unless maybe you caught it late. I don't know. Single car qualifying. You get it done in a hurry around this little circle we got here. But 14.802 second lap for Higgins, a little bit faster than the first. Looks like that's going to about do it for qualifying. Well, we have an extra moment or two. I want to go ahead and mention the sponsors of the league. Of course, it is the TRS Modified Series, the RacingSchool.net. Head out to Thompson Speedway if you want to drive a real race car. It's a good opportunity to do that. Just find those guys at the RacingSchool.net. Book your appointment to do so. You can pass. You can go fast. There's no pace car, so to speak. It sounds like a blast of a time, and one of these days I certainly got to get out there and do that myself. It's not too far, even a 6 or 8 hour drive to sit in a real race car. It's worth the drive for sure. Also to Litchfield Specialty, associate sponsor of the series. D. Dixon & Sons Trucking for all your trucking needs. And Sudath Taxidermy, competition quality at a commercial price. Contact award-winning taxidermist James Sudath at 636-544-7836. Officially a couple of minutes left in the qualifying session, I believe. Typically, I think we get 7 to 10 minutes. We'll take a short break and be back after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Oxford, Maine at the Oxford Plains Speedway for tonight's OG Racing League TRS Tour Modified Series. 100 laps around the 3/8 mile speedway. Qualifying is officially in the books. Let's look at our starting grid for the evening. Cody Harger, the number 66 Charger Racing Plasmine Technology machine on pole position. Outside pole, Dan Butler with the Racing School. Dustin Painter starts in the third spot in the number 65 machine. Alfie Sharon with Sharon Racing will roll off in row number 2. Row 3, Rob Higgins in the 40 with Higgins Hill Racing. Dan Murphy Jr. will be to his outside in the 41. Row 4, Josh Buckley, the number 13, and to his outside, Mike Teschrow in the 33. Bob Higgins will be 9th. Joe Marks will be 10th. Tom Melnick will be the 11th starter for the race. 12th will be Bill Voracek. 13th starting position, Carson Conway with Holler Boys Racing. Holler Boys Racing TV on the side. Thanks, Carson. Starting 14th, Pete Woodrum with 304 Motorsports. 15th, the 26 of Shane Wagner. Ben Choate, number 21, will start 16th. 17th, last but not least, Tyler Owen Helton, number 81. Shotgun on the field. That's your starting grid here from Oxford Plains. Field getting ready to roll out for their first of, I believe, 2 formation laps. Pace cars are rolling. A little bumping and banging already at the back of the pack, like Carson Conway maybe and Shane Wagner already making contact under the formation lap. That always gets people fired up. All right, lights are off. Top the iRacing Pace vehicle. We're going to be going green. Our first green, the start of the race tonight. This time by, from the pole position, Cody Harger, the 66. Pace cars in the pit lane. The green flag's waving. Cody Harger in the throttle. Dan Butler to his outside. Little wiggle from the 65 of Painter there. No harm, no foul, but keep the lead. Cody Harger in the 66. Move Painter to the second spot. Dan Butler now back to third, starting from the second position with pressure from the fourth position, Alfie Sharon. Cody Harger continues to lead almost 5 laps into this 100-lap event. At the line, there it is, 5 laps in the books. Dustin Painter is second, challenging Alfie Sharon in the third spot. Alfie wants around. He wants that second spot, maybe to set sail and go after the 66. Battles throughout the field, the 33 of Mike Teschrow. Mike's shown some success and some speed in the truck series as of late, running in the 7th position here in the modified series. Ironically, with 7 laps on the board.
Yellow.
Too heavy yellow, though. Looks like Tom Melnick involved. Tom Melnick, the 888 machine. Contact with the 9 looks like a Bill Voracek. Close quarters racing here. A little CQR instead of the CQB. Might as well be the same thing here. 88 spins around, but no outside wall here unless you're on the front stretch, so they kind of get away with it. Live to fight another day, albeit from the back of the pack. Maybe a wave around car already at this point. Lights are still on. Pace car as we cross the line to put lap 12 on the board. The lights are off now on the pace car. We're going to go green the next time by. Lap 13 will be underway. Green flag back in the air. Cody Harger back in the throttle. Dustin Painter, a poor restart. Was second, moves him back to the fourth position. So Alfie Charon putting pressure on the 66. Caution out again. Shane Wagner this time. Tom Melnick maybe again as well. Let's take a look. '26 of Wagner. Oh, gets clipped by the 21. Collects the 81. So it was Ben Choate, the 21. Let's look at that one more time. And close quarters racing here at Oxford Plains. It's going to happen. I swear I fixed that transition.
Green flag.
Cody Harger, lap 20, still leads. I don't want to say a dominant performance so far because he's really not checking out. He's got a couple of car lengths on Alfie Charon, but that's not a big distance, especially on the driver of the 78. Proven to be able to get things done in this modified. And Murphy Jr. up to the third spot. Good old Mike Taschereau, 4 positions gained. He runs top 5 in the 4th position. Other battles throughout the field. Back to Dustin Painter. Dustin was restarted second, I think, on that last caution. He's back in the 8th position at this point in the evening. Not sure what happened there with Dustin. Dustin trying to put some pressure on the 13 of Buckley. We do have another caution, though. Looks like Tyler Owen Helton has crashed. Carson Conway may have collected it as well. Watch the 81 machine. Ooh, little contact from the 888 machine. That was Melnick again, yep. Ooh, Melnick gets the raw end of the deal. Slices the light pole right in half. Rolls the machine on the... Tough break for the 88. 81 just gets spun around, but let's see what happens here with Carson Conway. 81 just rejoining the track in front of traffic, and the 72 just collects him again. It's a tough situation. It's a matter of check your relative, but it's also a matter of we're under yellow. Kind of got to check up a little bit. That was after the incident was kind of over. 81 was pulling away from the scene, then gets collected by the 72. Oh, shared responsibility in that one, I think. Well, Carson Conway in pit lane. Been in there for a length of time at this point. The Holler Boys Racing TV number 72. Might be a short afternoon for the driver of that machine. Oh, gonna try it again here. Lap 31, gonna be 32. We go back to green. Pace car lights are off. Get ready for some more action here at Oxford Plains. Pace car hits the pit lane.
Green, green, green.
Clean start so far. Cody Harger, though, still out front. Alfie Sharon, Mike Taschereau, Butler, and Murphy Jr., your top 5. Cody Harger still looking very strong here in the early going, about a third of the distance into tonight's race. Alfie Charin, though, not cutting him any slack. It's a half car length the gap up to the first position of Cody Harger. Cody's battling hard to keep Alfie in behind him. Oh, Fluffy catches the lower apron there, almost spins it out. Manages to save the car. Nicely done by the 78, but loses some ground. It's a couple of car lengths up to Cody Harger now. He's also under pressure from the 33 of Mike Taschereau. Mike's hot and heavy to get around the 78. Sees an opportunity, wants to take advantage. 2, 3, and 4 once again. Like Alfie's regained his composure, has put another gap back to the 33. Now changes lines a little high on exit at turn number 4. Gonna have to reel in the 66 of Cody Harger once again. It's about a 5-car length advantage for Cody. Back to the 78 of Sharon Jr. Good stretch of green flag racing here from Oxford Plains. Lap 43, almost a halfway. We've had a few cautions in the mix, but so far so good since the most recent restart. Mike Taschereau driving it in deep into turns 3. Gained a lot of ground on the 78, but the 78 drives off a little bit better than the 33. Off of turn 2, not so much the case though. Mike Taschereau holding strong to the 78. 4 once again. Battling between the 78 and the 33. It's allowing the 66 of Harger to kind of get away. Advantage almost a full second for Cody Harger at this point. Little slip by Mike Taschereau off turn number 2. Mike getting pressure from the 18 of Butler. Butler to his inside. Taschereau battling back on the high side off turn number 2. Taschereau slipping back now. The 41 of Dan Murphy Jr. working his way underneath 33. Now the 40 of Higgins trying to do the same. Handling going away on the 33 of Mike Taschereau, or maybe it's just being on the outside. Back up front, Cody Harger continues to lead. The advantage just over a full second back to Alfie Charon Jr. Good stretch of green flag racing here so far at Oxford Plains. Lap 55 of 100 in the books. Cody Harger, I believe, has led every lap thus far. Mike Taschereau back to the 6th spot. Pressure now from Josh Buckley. Ladies and gentlemen, bear with me. I'll be right back after this, but you won't miss a thing. We'll stay right here with the action on track. And we're back. Nothing's changed up front. Cody Harder still continues to lead. Alfie Charon is digging into that gap just ever so slightly. It's down to 0.8 of a second. This series started with a 50% fuel load to get through the afternoon. I'm pretty sure that's going to require at least one stop for fuel. I know we had some cautions early on in the event, but we've been clean and green here for I think about 30 laps. Let's see if the green came back out. Lap 30. But yeah, we're 37 laps into this run. Not sure if the cautions were enough to slow down the fuel burn for these guys. See Cody Harder, though, trying to work through lap traffic. Contact made with the 66. Don't know what that was all about. It's allowed the 78 of Alfie Charon to get by the lap machine, the 21, seemingly making intentional contact with the 66 machine. I'll have to go back and look at it. Let's see, lap 67 it may have been. Just like that, as I'm trying to look through, it looks like Alfie Charon's given the spot back. Alfie didn't make contact with the 66, the 21 did, so I'm not sure what the issue is there. Just good sportsmanship maybe on the 78's part, I don't know, but interesting. We'll have to find out what happened there. Either way, that's a pretty cool move by the 78 for sure, if that is indeed what had happened. Wants to get that spot fair and square. I get it. And he was catching the 66, so he certainly got the speed. Let's see if we can go back. We're watching a replay. Here's the 21 on lap 66. Gets loose off turn number 4. Back into 1 and 2. 66 trying to get around the 21. Meanwhile, we do have a caution. Looks like Tom Melnick involved. I'm going to rewind this again, see if we get a better look at it. All right, so this is off turn number 2. Down into 3. Yeah, I don't know if the 21 just overdrives the corner or what, but yeah, slides up into the 66. Looks less intentional and we just slow it down, but either way, it definitely cost the 66 the position. Tough to say. I'm not sure what caused the 78 to give it back, because looking at it from that perspective, it looks like just incidental contact. Caution is out, though. Ben Choate involved, the 21 again. I think this was lap 74. Let's take a look at it. Ben Choate, the 21 machine. Yep, off track. Looks like the 21 has expired an engine. See if it's an issue with Tom Melnick here. Check the 888 machine. Yeah, Melnick just gets up into the dirt, spins it sideways. Unfortunately, it's enough to bring out a yellow. But it does give these guys an opportunity to make their pit stops to get that last tank of fuel. Doesn't look like everybody did. Some guys took the opportunity. Looks like our top 5 did not. So maybe they're gambling that A, we're going to have more cautions, or maybe the math just cycles out that they're going to make it to the end at this point with this caution. You've got some of these guys, Painter, Voracek, Woodrum, they're on their, well, at least Painter and Voracek, they're on their second stop. whereas the top 8 have yet to make the stop. Interesting. Lights are out atop the pace car. It's in the pit lane. Cody Harger in the gas. Green flag is waving. Good restart by the 66. A little bit of trouble, though, on the restart for the top 5. Big trouble in the back. Caution's out once again. Tom Melnick not having a good night. Just drills the 65 of Painter there late after the fact. Well, let's go back and take a look. Looks like it may have started with Dustin Painter. Not sure if he was the culprit, but into turn 1, this is Painter and Taschereau. I think the 65 real loose on entry. Gathers it up. Oh, there's trouble up ahead. It's like Alfie Charon, so we'll back that up again. And it looks like the 18 of Butler may have made contact with the 78. It's hard to say from that angle, but either way, 78 does get crossed up, does get sideways, makes contact with the 8, then the 40, then the 13 gets involved. 26, so Wagner gets on by. Taschereau gets a clip. Bill Voracek involved. Big wreck, actually, here on this restart, turns 1 and 2. Less than 25 laps to go. Less than 20 to go. So we've got some wave around cars to dispose of here. The 66 of Harger going to tuck back in behind the pace car. Found the 1 to go here. 3/8 of a mile for the wave around to catch the tail end of the field. Not even really, because they're in 3 and 4, getting ready for a restart as it is. Pace cars hitting the pit lane. Field working through 3 and 4, looking for the green flag. Cody Harger back in the throttle. Harger, Butler, Murphy Jr., Wagner, and Buckley, your top 5. Dan Butler right on that rear Nerf bar of the number 66. They work off turn number 4 already. Turns 1 and 2. Harger and Butler in a battle for the lead and possibly a win here with 13.5 laps to go from Oxford Plains. 66 digging for all it's worth. Dan Butler doing the same, trying to keep all the pressure in the mirror of the 66, trying to force a mistake. Harger and Butler both have the speed. Last lap, not even a half a hundredth off of each other as far as lap time is concerned. Half a tenth difference between best lap time, the 66 with the best time. Dan Butler a half tenth slower, the second best time. Cody, though, with clean air, putting a couple of car lengths on the number 18 machine. Coming to 10 laps to go. Ten to go here from Oxford Plains. Cody Harger putting on a show here this afternoon. Alfie Sharon in a battle himself here, trying to work his way back through the field to salvage the best finish he can after that last incident. With the 78 up to the 7th position with clean air out in front, but not a whole lot of laps left to do anything with it. Back out front, Cody Harger still your leader. Butler is in second. Murphy Jr., Wagner, Buckley, your top 5. Shane Wagner having a day here. He's up 11 spots from where he started, running in the top 5 in the 4th position. Started all the way back in the 15th position. Ooh, Mike Taschereau in real hard, in through 3 and 4, almost to the back bumper of the 26. Taschereau on a different lap from the 26 machine. Hanging Nerf bars between 3 and 4, though. Shane Wagner is going to just yield the position. Believe that Taschereau's on better tires. Caution is out, though. We're going to have a shootout here. Unfortunately, Alfie Sharon trying to get all he can involved in an incident. Let's see if we can see what happened. Or maybe it was Dustin Painter. Let's back that up here. Yeah, there it is. Dustin Painter, the 65. We're going backwards here, but we'll get a look at it. Dustin battling with the 8 machine. Pete Woodrum just slides up, makes contact with the left rear, sends the 65 into the dirt. Brings us out another yellow here. We're going to have a green-white checkered finish. Can Dan Butler do anything with the 66 of Cody Harger? So far, Alfie Sharon seemingly the only competitor out there that can really put the challenge to the 66. Of course, Alfie having an issue with the last restart. Gets caught up, sent near the rear. He's up a few spots. Alfie Sharon in the 9th position. Don't know if he's close enough to do anything with the leaders at this point in the race. Let's get a couple more of these green-white checkered finishes. We might. Gonna find out, though, if Dan Butler's got anything for the 66. He looked good on the last restart. Unfortunately, Cody did pull away after a little while. Butler's gonna have to dig down deep and find something to see if he can get around Cody Harger.
flag. Caution is out. It's not going to be good.
They may set this to single file restart here. We'll see what happens. I know it's a green-white checker, but in the same token, we've kind of had some consecutive issues here. But at the same time, double file's a little more exciting. You never know. It's the Alfie Chair and the 78 getting the wave around here. 1 to go. There it is, single file restart. Pace car lights are out. All lined up like grandma's onions as they work through 3 and 4. Pace cars in, green in the air. Everybody clean through 1 and 2. White flag in the air for Cody Harger. Last lap around Oxford Plains Speedway. Cody Harger started the race on pole. Works his way down the backstretch one more time into 3 and 4 for the final time. A dominant performance by the 66 of Cody Harger. He will win at Oxford Plains. Second place, Dan Murphy Jr. Third, Josh Buckley. Shane Wagner, an impressive fourth. Tyler Owen Helton, also an impressive fifth. Big movers here this afternoon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back with our top 3. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Oxford Plains Speedway. The OG Racing League TRS Modified Series is in the books. Cody Harger is victorious with Dan Murphy Jr. second. Josh Buckley bringing it home in the 3rd spot. It was a great race, actually, and we thought we'd see a lot more yellows than we actually did. First half was a little rough. Things kind of cleaned up through the midsection of the race, and a couple of fireworks at the end, but either way, Cody Harger brings it home victorious. Let's go down to him next. Cody Harger, it's Steve Singer in the broadcast booth with HBR TV. Do you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, sir. Congratulations on the victory here tonight at Oxford Plains. A very unique racetrack. It's, well, there's no real time to relax. You're always turning the car. Tell us about how you did it, putting on a dominant performance here tonight.
Man, it was all about just not making mistakes and not overdriving the car and running the front tires off of it. You really, as much as you turn left, you really don't move the steering wheel a whole lot. So it's all about keeping the wheel turned and not overturning it, and then using the throttle to basically control your attitude through the corner. The more throttle you give it, the more right it wants to go. So if she's not turning, instead of canking more wheel into it and running the right front off, it's better just to let it roll just a little bit longer and then getting the throttle, once she's made it around that apex. So that's all I was doing, was just not overdriving it, trying not to hit the curb, but not missing it, and just being smooth. I mean, I think, you know, a lot of guys were complaining about they'd run the tires off of it. I think if you look at my lap times, my last, you know, 15 laps were probably almost as good as my first 15. So guess it worked out, and didn't make some of the mistakes or get caught up in some of the messes the other guys did. Those I definitely owe a big thank you to the 78 Alfie Sharon. Had a guy, I think, must have spun down to the infield there, come back on the track. I don't know. I guess he probably just didn't realize who he was racing, and kind of got me pushed up the racetrack. And 78 got by me, and pretty stand-up move on his part. We got to the back stretch, and he said, "Hey, I don't want it like that. Pass me back." So, and then, you know, soon after that, we get a caution, and I think he got spun or come across someone's nose or something there, and, you know, that could have very easily been me on those restarts, because being on the outside was death. So big shout out to him for straight up racing like that, and good night.
Well, we're certainly going to ask about that with the 21. The 21 did spin off the track into the grass, and then had a real low entry into 3 and then slid up into you. At first glance, I thought it was intentional, but looking at the replay, definitely not. But either way, it cost you the spot. Really stand-up move by the 78 to give it back. Speaking of what you mentioned about old tires versus new, your last lap of the race was a 1478. Your best lap of the race was a 1452. So two tenths, maybe 2.5 tenths slower on the 100+ lap tires. So you really played the tire game right on that. So good job there. My question I have is fuel. I know some guys pit for fuel, some guys didn't. You were one of them that stayed out. Were you nervous? Did you definitely have enough with these green-white checkers?
Oh yeah, I definitely had enough. So when we first took off, you know, you're turning and looking so left, and the way I've got my black boxes set up, they're kind of on the right-hand side in my VR. So I never really got to look at it except for under caution. I knew when we left to take green, it said it was good for 101 laps. So I was like, well, typically that clock counts down, and you end up having less fuel than what you think at the beginning of the race. But then we got that first caution, and it had gone up to 105. So I was like, okay, all right, well, maybe so. And then we ran a little bit more, and you know, fuel became really a non-issue. I think I probably had another 20, 30 laps of fuel in the tank, honestly. So yeah, it started out, I was nervous. Like, am I going to have to pit? And I was, you know, just going to take enough fuel, no tires, because you'll go lap down here if you try to take tires. So it was, but yeah, I was nervous at first, but then, you know, a couple cautions in, doing a little cut and coast on the first couple of cautions, and I had plenty.
Well, Cody, it was an impressive run for sure. Congratulations on the victory here tonight. Anyone you need to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, let me shout out to Plasmine. They're always on the car for me, and I appreciate them, their support, and love representing them. Give a shout out to the league, OG Race, and I really like running with these guys, especially in these cars. It's a fun time, and guys cut up and get along real well. It's cool. Big shout out to the league sponsors, especially TRS, for putting on this Tour Mod series. Like I said, I really love these cars, so shout out to those guys for putting this on, and HBR TV for broadcasting it so we can go relive these moments.
It's Cody Harger, number 66, your winner here tonight. Thanks, Cody, and maybe we'll see you next week.
10-4, man. Have a good one.
Up next, we got Dan Murphy Jr., our second place finisher in tonight's race. Dan Murphy Jr., Steve Singer in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, Steve, I hear.
Dan, I got you. Congratulations on the second place finish. You're always good when you finish better than you qualify. Tell us about your afternoon here at Oxford Plains.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, it was a tough race, a lot of short track bumping and banging. I went into it just going to take it easy. Didn't qualify too good, and it was just about staying on the lead lap, out of trouble, and a lot of throttle control, a lot of green flag laps. I have to apologize. I think it was Dan Butler. Last 10 or so laps, he drifted up a little. I tried to stick it in under him, and we hit each other.
Close quarters racing at a place like Oxford Plains. Just listening to your interview, Dan, this must be a home track for you. I'm sure you've got a few laps around this place. Do you like running here?
On iRacing, I've only ran the Legend cars here, and this is not one of my favorite tracks. This is a very hard track to race.
It's just a big giant circle with no straightaways. You're always turning. It's difficult to master for sure, but you brought it home in the second spot, so congratulations for that. Dan, before we let you go, anybody that you need to thank?
Yeah, it's Hollow Boys Racing, Steve for broadcasting it, TRS, Litchfield Specialties, Dixon and Sons Trucking, Sudarth Taxidermy, and OG Racing for letting me race with them. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks for chatting with us, Dan. Congratulations on the second place finish. Look forward to seeing you run next week. Dan Murphy, our second place finisher. Last but not least, let's go to our third place driver, Josh Buckley. Josh, it's Steve Singer in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Josh, I'll be honest, I didn't see a whole lot of you tonight, maybe here and there, but all of a sudden, finishing top 3 here. Tell us about your afternoon.
Well, it's called luck, I believe that's what they call it, but it was really just trying to, grind and just restart in the bottom when you had to, and just really just be there at the end. And I got lucky. I'm not gonna lie. There was that probably second to last wreck that took a bunch of cars out, and I was just able to. I had contact, but not enough to really hinder the car too much. So I got lucky. It's Oxford. You got to get lucky there.
Well, I'm sure you'll take the third place finish. We talked to our winner, Cody Harger, and he mentioned that some guys were complaining about tire fall off. His last lap of the race was only about 0.2 off of his best lap of the race. How was it on your end as far as the tire situation was concerned?
I mean, after the contact, after that second to last caution or third to last caution, my right front was caved in, so it definitely did. It was just the luck of those last restarts. I was on the bottom, able to just hold the bottom there, and once I got up there and I realized what was going on, is just you got to hold your guns. I thought I may have been yeeted there, as I like to call it, at the end by Shane. I appreciate him not doing that, but he gave me that bump and run to try to see if he can get under me, but it just worked out.
Well, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Again, either way, it's a top 3, no matter how you get it. Congratulations. Josh, before we let you go here, anybody you need to thank?
Thank Granny Hibbs, Buckley, Walkers and Canes. We got Checker Flag Auto Supply, and just these guys at OG Racing. They do a lot, and it's a great league to run in. A great group of guys. So just having fun, and thank you for the broadcast.
Well, Josh, thank you. It's so far it's been a pleasure to broadcast for you guys. It is a good series to watch and broadcast and kind of be a part of. I kind of wish I was a little more involved on the racing side of things, but sitting here with a microphone seems to take up more of the time as of late. But again, either way, thanks for the pat on the back. Good job yourself, and look forward to seeing you race next week.
All right, I'll see you next week.
Josh Buckley, our third place finisher here tonight in the OG Racing League TRS Modified Series from Oxford Plains Speedway. You see the results up in front of your screen here. Let's go through it real quick. Of course, Cody Harger, the 66 machine, brings it home into victory lane. Dan Murphy Jr. was second. Josh Buckley was third. Shane Wagner was fourth. Tyler Owen Helton, top 5 for the 81 machine. Bill Voracek, after some early race struggles, brings it home in the 6th spot. I've seen that with Bill quite a bit. No matter what issues he has early on, he sticks to it, battles back, and here he is with a 6th place finishing position. Tonight's race. Rob Higgins was 7th. Mike Taschereau was 8th. Alfie Sharon 9th after a late race incident on the restart. Bob Higgins 10th. Dustin Painter 11th. Pete Woodrum was 12th. Dan Butler 13th. Tom Melnick was 14th. Ben Choate 15th. Joe Marks 16th. In last place in the 17th position, Carson Conway with Howler Boys Racing. An incident early on in the event. That's all she wrote for the 72. 17th, 86 laps down. Hopefully better luck going forward for Carson Conway. That's going to about do it for us here at Howler Boys Racing TV. Thank you for joining us. Certainly do appreciate it. The league appreciates it. so do the sponsors. And speaking of which, let's go over them. Litchfield Specialty for being a major contributor and associate sponsor here to the series. D. Dixon and Sons Trucking Incorporated. And of course, Sudath Taxidermy, competition quality at commercial price. Contact award-winning taxidermist James Sudath at 636-544-7836. And once again, of course, TRS, theracing.school.net, the title sponsor of the series. Again, if you're ever interested in driving a real race car because you don't have one yourself or the funding to build one or whatever your reasons are, if you just want to hop in a fast race car, run it around a short track for the afternoon, hit those guys up. Theracing.school.net. There's no pace vehicle. You're allowed to pass, go out and get an experience of a lifetime. Again, 6 hours, 8 hours drive, who cares? Plan it. Make it a bucket list item. Just go do it. Oh, I got to do it one of these days. I keep touting that. But again, that's about it for us. Again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, watching the broadcast. If you haven't already done so, like, share, subscribe, follow, the whole 9 yards, whatever those buzzwords mean. Facebook.com/HollerBoysRacing, OGTV, and Holler Boys Racing TV at YouTube. Please like, follow, share, subscribe, share it, share it, share it. More followers, the better. It really does help the broadcast. It really helps the channel. It helps us immensely. So please go ahead and do that. Even if you're not into it, just share it with everybody. All right? Either way, we'll see you tomorrow for the Truck Series race. Signing off, I'm Steve Singer with Holler Boys Racing TV. Thanks for watching, everybody.